Are we good? Okay. Buenos días y bienvenidos. Are we all a little bit sleepy today because of the time change? I was just sitting here and I, I know we got an extra hour, but I turned to Crystal and said, "It's quiet in here today." I do kind of almost feel like I am in someone else's congregation today. I'm sure we'll all get our energy. Wherever we are today on the spectrum of energy, I want you to know that you are a gift. I want you to know that love is the spirit of all souls. And in this moment of our shared journey, may you feel witnessed and honored wherever you are on that journey. Know that whether you're here for the first time or the thousandth, whomever you are, whomever you love, whatever your ability, gender, beliefs, political affiliation, or documentation status, you are welcome here, and you are never alone. I invite you now to please rise in body or spirit and greet your neighbor, especially our new folks, and share your name and pronouns. We'll return to the service to the sound of music.
Good morning, and welcome to all who are here with us in the moment, and to those who will be catching us later on. I'm Crystal Francis. My pronouns are she, her, and I will be serving as the worship associate for today's service. Reverend Katie Romano Griffin, our senior minister, whose pronouns are she, ella. Gabe Perberry, pronouns he, him, and I are your worship team on the chancel today. I want to note, if you haven't seen your name tag recently, we now have pronoun stickers. Please look for the stickers on the stand. And I know some of you are rolling your eyes, but when you ask how we can be welcoming to other people, this is one small way. So I encourage you to do it. Probably when you put your sticker back, your thing back up and don't carry it home like I do. If you're visiting this morning, we are really glad to have you. People of all ages are welcomed in the service, but nursery care is available if that option works best for your family. I invite everyone to please complete a connection card. Looks like this or another equally vibrant, pretty color. The card helps us know how to stay connected with you and support you on life's journey. Our caring team is an extension of the ministry team and is here to support you. You can reach the team by writing a note on your connection card or by calling 317-210-0121 and leaving a message, or by emailing pastoralcare@allsoulsindy.org. Our Soul Matters theme this month is generosity. This month we have added a packet specifically for families to share at home with children and youth. Sign up for In the Know to get the packet so you can engage with the materials at home or at All Souls in person and online. And you don't see it on this, but on the In the Know, it's right up here in the corner is the link. So you can just click on the link to get the packet. And now Reverend Katie has a few quick messages for us.
It's really more than a few, and it's not so quick. But we'll begin with a goodbye to Sam Ryan, who's been our office administrator. We love Sam, and we are so sorry to see Sam go, but also excited for her next adventure. So if you happen to drop by, this is her last week. Say howdy. We do have some interviews that are happening and should have someone new in place soon, but Sam is really dear to our hearts, and we're going to miss her. I also want to check in with those of you who might like sparkly things, because Babette is recruiting volunteers for November 8th and 15th at 1 p.m. on the stage in Harris Hall to sort jewelry, because we're going to have a jewelry sale that will support our partner church, Szepsi St. George in Transylvania, and also support our congregation here. So see Babette or email Babette. There's details in our In the Know e-news. The town hall that was slated for today has shifted again. It's been a little bit of a moving thing. There was some surprise illnesses. So November 14th, 7 p.m. via Zoom, there'll be an e-blast that goes out, but I hope you can attend. And we're going to do something in just a second, so ready yourselves to be super welcoming, because I know you are. We want to give a special hello to our partner church, the Unitarian Church of Szepsi St. George, which is in Transylvania. They are also having a service today, but we're 7 hours apart. But we are going to be sharing a link to their service, and they're going to share a link to our service. So if you could, turn to the back where Carmelo is and wave. Thank you. They've gifted us with a special video today that we'll share as a part of our service. It is not in the order of celebration, so you can just turn that over and know it's a general guide, but we've changed some things. As we begin our time together, we acknowledge the land itself and those who've sustained it through the generations, for we are upon the unceded land of the Miamia, Kaskaskia, Shawnee, and Kickapoo people who were pushed from their land and whose children have been stolen for generations. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to find ways to make reparations. I'd like to offer you some words by Sarah Stewart. Bring who you are as you enter our congregation this morning. Bring your best self and your struggling self. Bring your mistakes and your triumphs. Bring your shortcomings and your recommitment to good. Bring yourself here and open your heart to beauty, to truth. The door that is open to the presence of the holy. Here in this congregation, we are trying to walk together or go together on the peaceable way, trying to hammer out division and hatred and all that separates us from one another. We try, and we will fall short, but held in love, we will try again. We come together this morning as a congregation to bow our heads in prayer, to raise our voices in song, to remember our promises and vow to live by them once again. I'd like to invite Amanda Giorgiani to please come forward with any helpers who would like to join Amanda to join in the ritual of lighting our chalice. Now, you may not know Amanda, and if you don't, you're missing out. Amanda has been on staff for years and is the Faith Formation Coordinator working with Nancy. And we are very grateful for all that Amanda does, and I'm grateful for you all coming up to help light the chalice. The ritual of lighting our chalice reminds us to continually renew our promise, to live into our covenant, to put love into action, and to live out the community of love and justice we aim to be. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we share these adapted chalice lighting words from James Villa Blake. These are the same words this congregation has spoken since 1903. They are printed in Spanish and English in the order of celebration. We will read them first in Spanish. Amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Vivir juntos en la paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos este nuestro pacto. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Thank you. You may remain risen. Gotcha. We will sing together hymn number 1058. It's in the teal hymnal.
Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple a space, its shrine a good heart, its creed all true. Its ritual words
We are going to sing this again without our microphones, but making sure the congregation microphone is on. So our partner church can be pleased to hear us because you sound great.
In 1997, a group of interested church members began the Partner Church Project at All Souls. We wanted to be matched with a sister church in Romania, in Transylvania. The Unitarian Church of Sepsi St. George was a small city of 56,000 inhabitants and was recommended to us as a good match. We became acquainted with Reverend Istvan Kovac, and the young minister who had studied in England and could speak very good English. We communicated with Istvan for several years. We raised money to donate towards construction of their new church building. In November 2001, several of our church members and our minister, Reverend Bruce Clear, visited the Partner Church. We were told there was a great need for financial help with college education. Talented students from single-parent households often could not afford university. At the time, the cost was about $500 to enroll in a university, so we began fundraising to support 4 or 5 students each year. This scholarship paid for all their expenses except room and board. We raised money for this purpose every year until COVID interfered. We also arranged 5 more trips to Transylvania over the years, taking about 25 church members on a 2-week trip to Romania and Hungary, visiting our partner church for 5 days, then traveling to tourist sites and important sites in the founding of Unitarianism. We learned about our faith origins, beginning with the first edicts of religious freedom issued in Europe. Our community has also brought 4 Transylvanian Unitarian ministers to speak from our pulpit. Our connection goes on currently with our new partner church minister, Agnes Petrov.
Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together hymn number 1057, and we sing our children out to their classrooms. It's Go Lift It Up. Thank you, Betty. Would you like to breathe with me into this moment? Just breathe. Maybe you haven't had a chance to catch your breath this week, or maybe that was your week last week, or maybe that's what life has been like for a while. But we take time each week in our service to breathe together, to acknowledge the joys and sorrows in our own hearts, within this community, and within the globe. We have some joys to celebrate. I bet there are some in your own hearts. But there's one joy that we forgot to talk about last week. We missed an anniversary, but we missed it together, so that's okay. Last week was 1 year since our installation. Yes. And if you're wondering what that means, something that's special about Unitarian Universalism is nobody is the boss of a congregation. Congregations get to decide who they want as their minister. And more than a year ago, this congregation, all of the membership, 100% voted to install me as senior minister here at All Souls. And then we threw a party at the end of last October, and ministers and religious educators and other religious professionals and people came from all over the U.S. to celebrate our installation with us. It's a pretty big deal. We have some sorrows in our own hearts and in the community. I noticed online this morning that Helen Dwyer is going for a procedure on Tuesday, so please send some love Helen's way, and I bet a card or a call would be appreciated too. I want to call into this space those who lost their lives last weekend in Indianapolis and the families due to the mass shooting that happened here. And let us also call into this space those whose lives are lost every day in this city and in this nation due to gun violence. 100% preventable. 100% preventable. And let us name once again in this space this week the sense of hopelessness and powerlessness and grief we feel with our Palestinian kin as the genocide continues. And do we condemn the violence that occurred by Hamas against the Israeli people? Yes. And genocide has been happening in Palestine for a long time. Valerie Kaur says that we must grieve together because it is unprocessed grief that leads to the kind of rage that leads to retaliation. And I want to share with you all that if you're feeling hopeless and you're feeling powerlessness, there are things that you can do. Join the actions at Monument Circle, where Jewish Voice for Peace and the Palestinian community are coming together, where you are needed to grieve with both communities, to witness the collective grief, to help us all process the collective grief as we call for an end to the killing. I gift you these words by George Odell in these times. We need one another when we would mourn and be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and in need to be recalled again to our best selves. We need one another when we were accomplished and have accomplished some great purpose. We cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat when with encouragement we might endure and rise again. We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives, we are in need, and others are in need of us. May we be the love and the change we so desperately seek in this world. May it be so. Amen. I invite you now to please rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 1043 with some support from our song leaders.
Let's all sing part number 2 first.
Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need.
Now let's all sing part number 1. This side here is gonna sing with us number 2 only.
Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need.
Now the other side singing number 1 with Jane.
Oh, lead, oh, Shaddai, oh, Shaddai, oh, Mekhe, oh, Laudos, oh, Dishtan, oh, Ishtan,
You'll remember last spring that a message went out asking for host families for 2 UU teenagers from our Transylvanian sister church who would be coming to General Assembly and then on to visit here in Indianapolis for 3 weeks. This is how I came to meet Andrash Sen and his cousin Bolash Kovash. Bolash stayed with the Rahill family. Andrash spent a week each with Judy Miller. Sorry, Judy. It's gotten written here, Murphy, and I still said, never mind. Virginia Snell's family and my family. Andrash has an insatiable love of orange juice. He told us he could seldom get real orange juice at home, only orange drink. So we plied him with orange juice, being forewarned by Judy Murphy. Balash was particularly fond of our local Starbucks. During his time with us, with my family, Andras shared his Hungarian heritage, showing me on maps where he lived and his desire to visit more of the world, particularly Los Angeles. Talked about the oppression of the Huns, which are a minority in Romania. He shared his hopes and his dreams as well. It was such a blessing to have a teenager back in our house again. On a Sunday during their visit, we were in need of someone to light the chalice. I asked Andrash, who did not hesitate to volunteer. It was just wonderful to include him in our service. A different benefit from hosting the Transylvanians was the chance it gave the All Souls host families to visit each other's homes and to share time together, all in this common purpose. We realized what a sweet benefit that was, to know each other better.
since the first occasion.
Isn't that wonderful? That's such a gift. I knew they were sending a video, and it came late yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Just, just incredible. I also want to shout out, we've got a bunch of people joining online today, and they are on fire in the chat. Crystal was able to pull up YouTube so we could watch the video up here at the same time, and I saw a bunch of folks interacting in the chat. Yes, yes. We have folks from all over joining today, and Dawn, Kelly, and Joanne, thank you for interacting in the chat. There are ways for us to connect even when we are in our various locations on YouTube. And I see Joanne is, at least one person from Cedar Lane is here today, so send some love to our folks in Maryland. So historically, Unitarians asserted, if you're looking for your UU elevator pitch, here you go. Historically, Unitarians asserted that God was one and rejected the notion of the Trinity. Now, the Universalists said that God was love. So Tracy Barrett Welser, the Reverend Dr. Tracy Barrett Welser, a UU minister, often uses this one sentence as her elevator pitch. So if someone says, what's Unitarian Universalism? She says, God is one and God is love. That's theologically the roots of both of our traditions. Now, we can trace our roots back even before the Second Council of Nicaea in 325, when a vote was cast by leaders that declared Jesus was literally the Son of God made manifest. Before a bunch of dudes got together and made that vote, this was not widely asserted. Jesus was the Son of God in the way that all Jewish males were considered a child of God. Yes. Now, there were some dissenters that were led by a person named Arius, who believed Jesus was human. Again, that was prevailing long before this vote. And he was the Son of God, again, in the way that we are all its creations. Now, some will argue that the people of Eris, known as the first heretics, were the first Unitarians. Friends, that is a stretch. I would love to say that too, but the only thing that lends legitimacy is authenticity. So we can't really claim that. But if you fast forward in history, Michael Servetus, also known as Miguel Servet, was a famous Unitarian physician, humanist, and theologian who was martyred at the Diet of Worms. Diet is a gathering. Nobody was eating worms. Worms is a place. Diet is a gathering. And this diet happened in the 1500s. Now, Servetus was burned at the stake for his Unitarian beliefs. And it was John Calvin who was the instigator, who made sure that he was burned for his beliefs. This time in history and the vehemence with which people were killed for not following the beliefs of those in power led to thousands being killed. Colonization and theocracy, so religion and politics being combined, is what led to many, many deaths and much displacement. Sound familiar? And this is part of why we're getting to why Transylvania is critical in understanding the roots of our faith, because Transylvania became a place where Unitarians could go for safety. It is the birthplace of King John Sigismund, the first Unitarian king and the author of a document that holds today as the first document to legitimize Unitarianism and declare freedom of the pulpit. Now, I'm going to share something. You'll see that we have buttons over here that say 450, because it was more than 450 years ago, specifically in 1568, when the Edict of Torda, this proclamation, was signed by King John Sigismund. So in the city of Torda, which is now Romania, a religious gathering was presided over by King John Sigismund, who proclaimed, "In every place the preachers shall preach," and this is a quote from the 450 Project, "In every place the preachers shall preach and explain the gospel, each according to their understanding of it. And if the congregation like it, well. If not, no one shall compel them, for their souls would not be satisfied, but they shall be permitted to keep a preacher whose teaching they approve. Therefore, none of the superintendents or others shall abuse the preachers. No one shall be reviled for their religion by anyone, according to the previous statutes. And it is not permitted that anyone should threaten anyone else by imprisonment or by removal from their post for their teaching. For faith is the gift of God, and this comes from hearing, which hearing is by the word of God." What this means is, when I'm here, while I have a responsibility and a whole lot of professional ethics that I am in covenant with my colleagues with, and there's a covenantal relationship that we have agreements together, it means that I can preach about Unitarianism and Universalism and talk about controversial things that we can't talk about in the rest of the world, and no one can threaten me for doing it. It also means that if you really don't like me much, you can get a new minister, because it goes both ways. But it does mean that I can't be threatened, and it does mean that you empower me to bring these words and our shared ministry to the larger community, knowing that we are together in our work. Now, Unitarianism was officially recognized for the first time in the history of the world, with the Edict of Torda. We were pretty much renegades, sprouting out all over Europe before that. This proclamation is the beginning of our legacy, and it's important to understand that our spiritual tradition is one that resists hatred, oppression, and the narrow view that there is only one way to be faithful, to be religiously free. This is also a quote from the 450 Project. So Transylvania became a place of safety for people who were persecuted for their Unitarian beliefs. And our Unitarian kin in Transylvania, our beloved partners in Szepsy St. George, are still being persecuted. They are a religious minority. Being a partner church is a commitment to preserve our Unitarian history, to be in a mutual, accountable relationship in the official birthplace of our Unitarian faith, and to support the work that is happening. Do you know that it's most of our Unitarian congregations that are supporting refugees from Ukraine? And our congregations in Transylvania are not wealthy. I think the wealthiest congregation probably in the world is our UU congregation in Shelter Rock on Long Island. They're pretty flush with cash. But many of our congregations in Transylvania are facing similar situations that we're facing here, where young people are moving away from communities, congregations are shrinking, not as many people are coming to church. There's industries that have changed, that have created some economic depression. Our partners in Szepsy St. George, you saw in the video, they are working a food pantry. They have this gigantic food pantry that we can learn so much from the way they're doing food ministry to support their neighbors. And us holding partner church Sundays and starting to begin to strengthen that relationship will help us to continue to learn from each other as we preserve the roots of Unitarian Universalism. Honestly, none of this would be possible without you, Betty and Jim. Thank you. Betty and Jim have faithfully continued to remain in conversation for decades with our partner church. And I know a lot of folks here have visited Shepsey St. George and have been on a tour of Transylvania following the roots of our Unitarian history. And I thank you for doing that important theological work and that important work of being connected. But in order for our relationship to continue to have meaning, it means us staying connected. Now, if anything good were to come out of the pandemic, it's that we've learned new and exciting ways to stay connected using technology. So we're going to be exploring ways to use technology to be more deeply connected with our partners, but there's also an opportunity to do things like this summer where youth came to visit, and maybe some of our youth would like to visit and learn from youth in Transylvania. And this is only possible without additional support from the congregation. We appreciate your generosity, but generosity of time matters too. I know that Jim and Betty would love some help. So please check in with them and see how you can be a part of what our next steps are. Now, last week, I referred to our congregation as a big tent full of believers who believe many different things. And that is true. We are a non-creedal faith here in the U.S. That means that you don't have to subscribe to a single uniformity of belief to be a Unitarian Universalist. But it does mean that you agree to be in covenant, first with our congregation, and then with the larger movement of Unitarian Universalism, and then with the Unitarians and the Universalists and the Unitarian Universalists who are abroad. Covenant is the glue that holds us together. Covenant is a set of agreements we make with each other. Covenant is what we utilize so that we don't leave the table when things get tough, but agree to stay together and work it out. Covenant is the foundation of our religion here in the U.S., and it is hard work that requires constant communication and continuous learning. So some of us may be classic Unitarians who believe in one God. Some of us may be Universalists who uphold that God is love. Some of us may be Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, or something else. But the covenant is the glue that holds us together as we do this work of journeying through life. And it is important to support all of the roots of our faith authentically and keep our promises backwards and forwards in time as we ensure that our faith is a faith for the free forever, not just for now. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.
Each week, we gather together to align our giving with our values. We give to support the missions and ministries of our congregation and share half of our weekly offering with an organization whose values align with ours. This week, we are sharing our plate with our UU partner church, Shepsey St. George. To contribute, you can gift cash or a check into the collection plate. That's also where you need to put that connection card. Or if you're online, you can go to allsoulsindy.org, where you will find a link that says, Give to All Souls here on the left side. It's beneath the description for today's service. Please indicate if your gift is a pledge payment or if it is for Share the Plate, if you're paying online or using a check. Thank you for your generosity in supporting the mission of All Souls and for your continued love for one another and for this world. Take this moment to make your gift. The morning offering may now be given and gratefully received.
I give to you these words from theologian James Luther Adams and from the Reverend Abi Janamanchi. May we go forth this day, present to a love that will neither let us go nor let us off the hook. Go be agents of love. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.